A researcher is alone in the Badlands of New Zealand's South Island. She's brushing sediment off a bone, not a small bone, a leg bone, thick as a man's forearm. She holds it up to the light and goes very quiet. She's been doing this job for 15 years. She knows bones. She knows what a strange bone feels like in her hand. And something is wrong with this one. We'll come back to her. But first, I need to tell you about the day the world ended. 66 million years ago, a rock, 12 kilometers across, hit what is now Mexico. The energy released was equivalent to billions of nuclear bombs. The sky went dark for years. 3/4 of all species on Earth went extinct, including every non-avian dinosaur on the planet. The ocean's great reptile predators, the mosasaurs, the plesiosaurs, gone. The land cleared out. The sea cleared out. And into that silence, life did what it always does when given a vacuum. It didn't fill it slowly, it flooded it. On land, small mammals that had spent the dinosaur age hiding in burrows began diversifying wildly, within a few million years producing lineages that would eventually become whales, horses, elephants, bats, and primates. In South America, enormous flightless predatory birds called terror birds claimed the land predator niche almost immediately. And in the ocean, something else happened, something the fossil record kept hidden for 50 million years. Back to that researcher in Otago. The bone she's holding is 55 million years old. It belongs to a penguin, but not a penguin like anything alive today. This animal stood 1.6 meters tall. It weighed close to 100 kilograms. Its bones weren't the light, hollow bones of a flying bird. They were dense, denser than any bird alive, closer in structure to the bones of seals and sea lions than to anything with feathers. The species has been named Kumimanu biceae. Kumimanu, a Maori compound word meaning monster bird. That name was chosen carefully. Here's what that bone density tells us. Modern emperor penguins, the largest penguins alive, about 1.1 meters and 45 kilograms, can dive to over 500 meters. Dense bones reduce buoyancy. The denser you are, the deeper you can go. Kumimanu was denser, heavier, larger, and it lived in an ocean where the great whales were still partially land-dwelling and small, where megalodons were tens of millions of years in the future, where there were no orca, no great white sharks as we know them. The apex predator niche in the deep ocean, the role of large, fast, deep-diving hunter, was, in many regions, simply open. A 100-kilogram animal with dense bones, hydrodynamic flippers, and a hooked beak shaped for gripping large prey doesn't look like prey. It looks like the thing other things were afraid of. Now here's where this gets strange. For most of scientific history, the assumption was that penguins got big slowly. Gradual size increase is the default expectation in evolution. You need sustained pressure, the right food supply, the right absence of predators, across millions of generations. And for a while, the fossil records seemed to confirm this. Early penguin fossils, modest, giants, later. Story looked linear. Except when paleontologists dated the Kumimanu fossils precisely, the timeline collapsed. These animals weren't appearing after millions of years of gradual growth. They were appearing almost immediately after penguins stopped flying. The gap between a bird that could still technically fly and a bird the size of a human being may have been as short as a few million years. In evolutionary terms, that is not gradual. That is explosive. And Kumimanu wasn't alone. The fossil record from New Zealand and Antarctica contains at least half a dozen giant species, Pachydyptes, Anthropornis, and perhaps most striking, Ichthyodyptes selassie, found not in Antarctica, but Peru. Tropical giant penguins, standing 1.5 meters tall, ranging far wider than anyone initially assumed. In 2023, scientists described a second massive species from the same Otago site as Kumimanu, potentially even larger. Fragmentary bones, but suggesting an animal that may have pushed past 1.7 meters. Two giants, same region, same geological window. This was not a fluke. This was a pattern. I want to be clear about what we actually have. We have a dense leg bone, some fragmentary flipper material, enough surrounding fossil context to reconstruct the broad outlines of something genuinely extraordinary. We do not have a complete skeleton. We don't have direct evidence of hunting behavior, exact dive depths, or whether these animals were social. What we have is enough to know that the image of penguins baked into popular culture, small, waddling, endearing, perpetually cold, is a snapshot of one particular moment in a lineage that has been alive for at least 60 million years. For most of that time, some of those penguins were not small. And for a window of time in the early ocean, when the sea was still sorting out who was in charge, the largest of them may have been genuinely formidable animals, not prey, but predators filling a niche that wouldn't be seriously contested for millions of years. The fossil record is not a complete archive. It is a handful of pages from a book that was mostly never preserved. Every discovery, like Kumimanu, is a reminder that the pages we do have keep surprising us, and that the confident story we told about penguins for most of the last century was missing its most interesting chapter. We are currently losing species at a rate some estimates place at 1,000 times the natural background extinction rate. The Paleocene tells us life can recover from catastrophic loss, but the recovery takes millions of years, and what fills the gaps is not what was lost. The giants that appeared after the dinosaurs were not dinosaurs. They were something new. Whatever fills the gaps this time will not be what we're losing now. I'll leave you with a question that I think genuinely splits people. If giant penguins filled the apex predator niche in the early ocean and then declined as whales and sharks rose, did the penguins lose? Or did the ocean simply find a more efficient solution and move on? Were they outcompeted or replaced by something that happened to do the same job better? That answer is somewhere in the sediment of the Southern Ocean. We just haven't found it yet.